All right, I'm here today with the legendary Rakalam Bob Moses. You all know who Bob is. He's become a personal friend of mine. I was fortunate to have him as a guest artist at Furman University, where I teach, a few years ago, and we're just going to jump into it. Bob, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. I'm good. Yeah.
Good.
How about you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. Happy to have you here finally, man. We've been talking about doing this for a while.
Yeah.
So, well, I just thought I'd ask you, you and I have had hours and hours of conversations, but I just thought I'd ask you to talk a little bit about what your projects are that you were telling me about, your upcoming projects.
Well, there's so many I can't even. Well, I just had 3 that came out on already done on Rakalam Records, which you can find digitally. If you run into me, you can actually get physical copies. That's probably the only place you'll find them. But they're also available on Bandcamp due to a friend of mine, Damon Smith, bass player, great and wild, unusual, crazy bass player who lives in St. Louis. And we did a swap. I gave him some of my artwork because he's really into art, and his wife works in the museums, and he's an art lover. So he likes my paintings. So he said, "How much for you in a painting?" And I said, "Well, I'll give you one if you get my stuff up on Bandcamp." So he has almost my whole catalog. I don't know if he got the new ones up yet because he's been traveling, but he's got over 20 up, which is great. And I see a little, every once in a while I see a ka-ching, $7, ka-ching, $5.50. But I just like that it's another way that my stuff is available to people.
Sure.
I had been saying to myself that, and really believing it to be true for quite a while now, that I really don't care if I have an audience, if anybody listens to what I'm doing or understands it or likes it. It's really for my own healing. Be quite honest about it. But then I've come to realize as I've got older and I put so much work into these things that I would like people to hear them.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be a lot of people, but I'd like some people who are sympathetic to the direction of freedom and spirituality and music would probably dig them, because I have put a lot of work and effort into these recordings.
Absolutely.
And so I would like to hear them. I'm terrible with any promotion. I have no gift for it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's another possibility is just that people can get the stuff through Bandcamp. And I got a bunch in the works. Really, I think it's not egoic to say that I've already done some masterpieces. In fact, going way back, I think Bittersweet in the Ozone was my first one as a leader. That's 1973. It's kind of a masterpiece.
Absolutely.
If I do say so.
Classic.
But the best stuff hasn't even come out yet. My best stuff is still to come. And there's a date with Edgar Bateman that will be coming at some point. It was recorded in 2006. Don't ask me why it took this long. It's a long and boring story, but it's almost done now. That'll be a double CD called Creative Infinity and Love Eternal. And that's with Edgar Bateman and Rakalam. And he was my drum hero. He's the greatest drummer I ever heard. His name is Edgar Bateman. A lot of people not hip to him, but I thought that when I first heard him when I was like a teenager, and I thought that at the end. He passed, shortly after that record was made, actually. But I have the mother lode. There's very little of him on recording, unfortunately. It's not that I will mention one where you can get some idea of how great he is a record called Urge, which is Ted Curson, trumpet player, used to play with Mingus, and Bill Barron, I think that's Kenny Barron's older brother, played saxophone, Jimmy Woody, and no piano. And I think the fact that no piano kind of opens up more space for the drums in a certain way. And yeah, you get a certain idea of how great Bateman is. That's a very obscure record. It was a Dutch label called Fontana, I believe. But I have noticed that somebody did put it up on YouTube. So anybody's interested in hearing some Edgar Bateman can check that record out. The drumming is fantastic. And then the record that I'm working on, which is pretty close. That one, I gotta, it's going to be a double LP, and I would like to master it. And, so money does become an issue. It slows me down a little bit. Also, the engineer that I've been working with that has all the files and has all this material was going to move to Memphis with me and then didn't at the last minute. So he's still in Boston. So that slowed me down on some of these projects too, not to, but I bought a newer computer with the goal is to be do long distance mixing, which I know is quite possible to do. Yeah. But for someone like me that's a tech moron, it took me 2 hours just to figure out to turn the thing on. and that was with my friend who's a computer ace helping me. So, but I think I have all the ingredients now. I just have to got to get a tech person over here someday. I'll pay them some bread to help me get that process going. And we'll, the idea will be that he can show me a screen. He can send what he's working on to my screen so I can see what we usually see when we mix together. Sure. And I did go up to Boston for a couple of weeks, like 2 months ago, mostly to work with him. And we got a lot of work done, but still some of the most major ones still need to be finished, including the one with Edgar Bateman. With the drumming is unbelievable on that. Not me, his drumming, but I was barely hanging on to keep up with him. And he was, I think, 77 at the time and doing 400 push-ups every day. He was a very strong cat. But also there's a groove date that I've been working on for over 15 years that has all kinds of amazing people on it. And that one's going to be even more complicated to finish, but I do intend to finish it. Most of the music I've been doing lately is what some people would call free music or free jazz or something, without bar lines, with very little, if any, composition sometimes. But I felt I had one more groove record in me. Yeah. And also to pay tribute to how I started in music, which was playing with salsa bands, when I was a kid, and playing for dancers. I loved the danceable music and grew up with that stuff. And as a teacher, I always recommend that people don't skip that they don't go right to jazz, that they can play some funk or calypso or reggae or Afro pop or salsa or something that people can dance to, because that's kind of the fundamental roots. And also it's a great service to people. I had a band called Mozamba. That was more in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. It was a killer dance band. Yeah. And so, like I say, I started with that kind of music, and I feel like I'm really an extraterrestrial who's visiting Earth. That's how it feels like to me. And yet, but I've been on Earth long enough to have observed certain things. For one thing, to be grateful that the Earth people have, by and large, treated me really well. So I feel like I owe the Earth people something, and I know that Earth people really like to dance, and it's good service to the people to play some non-egoic groove music. But of course, all the free playing that I've been doing has affected how I play grooves. So there's more, I would say, air or transparency. People who play rock, well, check the word rock, it's heavy, it's solid, I'm finding that my grooves are more like light, like when light comes through a window, you can put your hand through it. Yeah. You can't put your hand through rock unless maybe you're a martial arts karate guy. And even then, I think wood, maybe, not rock, So anyway, it's another one that I want to finish. That's another one that I have a tentative title for. That would be The Dance of Life. And the first piece on there is it's it's gongs and cymbals and metallics played with hands, which is something that I don't even know if I've ever heard on a record. Usually it's got a mallet or something, and that's it's quite beautiful and ethereal, but it's grooving too at the same time. It's soulful, like a Marvin Gaye tune or something, and very simple. And so that's one project that I need to finish. I got about 15 that are at various states of, some are very close, some need a lot of work. There's another one called Peace Universal. That's an important project. That one's pretty close, but again, designing, it's going to be a double CD, so getting it mastered and designing the cover, it's going to probably deserves a booklet. That what might slow me down on that a little bit. Of course, that costs some bread and also time to do the design. But that record came about from something. I mean, the origins was something that the great bass player Steve Swallow said to me many years ago. I don't remember, because like chronology is my worst subject. But years and years ago, he said to me, he said, "You know, you're a great composer. You should write more." And first of all, I said, "Well, no, I don't think so. You're a great composer. I don't know about me." He said, "No," he said, "You are." I said, "Well, thank you. Coming from you, that's big. So I appreciate that."
Sure.
He said, "You should write more." And I remember saying, "But Swallow, I've got like about 500 tunes, envelopes on the floor, because I do them by hand on paper, like old school, not with a computer." And they're like, and out of the 500, probably 490 have never been played, and might never will be played. So I said to him, "Do I really need more paper laying around?" It's not like I enjoy writing. I'd rather, well, now I'm too old and frail, but I'd rather play basketball or go swimming or play some drums than sit down and write something, It's not something I do for pleasure. But so I said, "So what's the point of having more of this paper around?" And he said to me, "Well, it doesn't matter. You should do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because you're good at it." And he said, "Promise me you'll write a song every Christmas. You'll write a composition every Christmas." So why Christmas? Because I grew up as an atheist Jew. I don't know, but okay, Christmas, fair enough. I have a good feeling about the one they call Jesus. I have no idea what he really was, if he actually existed, anything, because that was a long time ago. My intuitive feeling is that he was the real deal. If not the Son of God, at least a holy man who was trying to bring some light and truth and compassion and healing to people. That's my feeling about him. And so I write these. So I've actually honored that I promised him I would. And with a few years that was, circumstances got in my way, I've done a piece every Christmas. And sometimes I really don't feel like it, but I go, "Oh God, I promised Swallow." So I go to the piano, and those ones come out a little weird, but they're all let's say positive meditations on Jesus, and my idea of Jesus as a healer, as a redeemer, bringing light. And if nothing else, he was another crazy Jew, and I can relate to him on that level. So they're all prayer songs. Some are a little weird, but they're still like heart songs, prayer songs and devotional, sacred songs. Anyway, the one that I wrote, I don't even remember now. I think it's either 216 or 217. It's called Peace Universal. Although I may wind up calling it Paz Universal in Portuguese, just because it sounds nicer and sexier in Portuguese. But whatever, it's Peace Universal, and I particularly like that one. I like all of them, or I wouldn't keep them. I wouldn't say them, So I had the idea of having people from. And the thing I should mention is that these compositions are written. At least the last 20 years or so, they've been written with no bar lines, so obviously no time signature, rubato, free, no chord symbols, so no key signature, no time signature, no chord symbols, no no key signature also, like each note is, it's, if it needs a sharp, I put a sharp. If it's a natural, I put a natural. So there's no like, we're in the key of A or something like that. So, and then also, so basically just a melody and a title. Okay?
Yeah.
And the reason I've been writing this way is to encourage maximum freedom from the players. So, and creativity, and they can take it wherever they want. And if you're a piano player or a guitar player or a chordal instrument, you can harmonize them however you like. And if you're a saxophone player, maybe you're not playing chords, but you can take the harmonic implications wherever you want to go. So anyway, that's another project that I really want to finish, and I've got people from many countries who did their version. So it's going to be a double album, and I have to edit it down to make it fit a double album. It's going to, I could almost do a triple album, but it's double album is already going to be, more than enough and expensive to finish. But it is a masterpiece. I mean, and I've got people from Ecuador, from Brazil, from Italy, from the Netherlands, from Germany, from Korea, from Puerto Rico, from US, of course, from Turkey, a lot of different countries, from Hungary. Got this guy, Tony Lakatos, a Hungarian gypsy saxophone player, did a very beautiful version. Great singer, Theo Bleckman. He's originally German, but lives in New York. Brilliant cat, did like a thing with 8 voices overdubbed. It's incredible. Got some fairly famous people that you'd heard of. Dave Lehman is on there. Bill Frisell did 2 beautiful versions. Jerry Bergonzi, Tony DeGrati, people, but also some people you probably not have heard of, but they're all visionary, brilliant in their own way. Some young people who are on that path and brilliant in their own right, So yeah, I got Russia, Italy, I mean, got a lot of countries, and so I'm in the process of finishing that one. So I got a lot of work to do. I may not get all of them done while I still have a body, but I've even been making some plans. If I have any money to leave, which hopefully I will have a little bit, I'm gonna leave some bread with my son. And he said, I don't need your money, Dad. I said, I know that, but I want, who else am I going to leave it to? He's my one and only kid. So, and I love him dearly, and I know he'll use it wisely. Might help him. But I said, but also he could help pay that engineer. I'm gonna give him a list of records that are, that would be my priority. Prioritize them. Give them a list of, and so they can finish some of these things after I'm gone. That my son Raphael will help with that. He said definitely he would do that. And so I'm hoping I have some money left. At this point, I have a little bit of savings, so hopefully maybe they'll all come out. But I want to finish the most important ones. I want to finish while I'm still in the body. Like those 3 that I mentioned are big: the Edgar Bateman date, the Groove date, and Peace Universal. There's one with Gaia, the great composer, Gaia Wilmer. She's kind of a genius composer. I would say she's a Hermeto, Gil Evans level composer, arranger, also a great saxophone player, but she's a great writer. Her compositions are really special. So, I've been doing these sonic beds. That's another thing that I think, did I ever send them to you, Keith?
Yeah, you sent those to me. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, that, for the people who don't know what that is, I'm up to 11 CDs worth, although lately we're not making CDs anymore. We don't need to, but, which means they can go longer than 74 minutes. But what the beds are, they're
some more of those, man. I'll have to get you to send me some more of those if you've added some.
Well, I got easily accessible 8, 9, 10, and 11. And 11 in itself is over 2 hours of material. I think 25 different beds. The sonic beds, what they are is a percussive bed or whatever instruments I'm using, I'll play whatever I got. If I have it, I'll play it. Overdubbed a few times. So the simpatico zone of sound, and they're not meant to be solos. In other words, not meant to be interesting enough in themselves, although probably some of them are, could stand on their own, but they're meant to be played over or, improvised over, composed over. Some of them, like Beds 8, for example, is mostly time grooves, the things that are in groove, a lot of things in 6, because that's kind of my core rhythm. And then 9 and 10 are mostly free, or what we call Rubatskovich, floating. 11 is mostly grooves again, mostly time stuff, and a lot of them using these the kungas that I got recently that are just a beautiful instrument. I bought these Giovanni Hidalgo model Galaxy kungas, and man, they sound so good. I don't even want to go to the drum set after I play the kungas because they're so pretty. And also playing with hands, which I've been doing a lot more on the drum set as well. Those hands just sound sweeter than sticks. Sticks are a little hard. Sticks are made of wood, and there's a harshness to them. Although I'm trying to make the wood, when I play the drums with the sticks, I'm trying to make them sound more like hands. But I also do a lot with hands these days, and sometimes one stick and one hand, which is, again, something you find in Brazilian music, African music. So that's another one. So a Gaia, I love her composition so much. I thought, I asked her quite a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, why don't you write some stuff over my beds? I gave her a bunch of these beds, and we'll make a record together. Your compositions over my sonic beds, right? You can choose the musicians that you want to use. Anyway, it was just talk for a long time because she had to go back to Brazil. The whole COVID thing came in, and that slowed everything down.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, just this last April, the April before this one, but a year ago, I guess, basically about a year ago, she finally went in a studio in New York and recorded it, and with an unbelievable group of musicians, including George Garzone, who's heavily featured, and he's amazing on the date, and a bunch of great players. A piano player from Argentina, Leo Genovese, is on it. And, everybody on it is just brilliant. Gaia herself is a saxophone player. So I'm not even sure the names of all the people who are playing. There's some woman singing, a great singer, and a flute player that's fantastic. A bunch of women playing, which is nice to include more women in the projects. I always like that whenever it can be. Anyway, so that's a masterpiece. I mean, her writing, because the beds are very organic. It's almost like you're in the forest, you're in the woods, and out of the woods, this classical orchestra is kind of emerging out of this organic thing, and it's beautiful. My only suggestion to her, because her, like I say, her writing is just the highest, I said, but have some free playing as well, so it's not all written. So it's a beautiful mix. Like, even while you're hearing these beautiful written melodies and counter melodies, you're also hearing somebody blowing and just going off, like playing like the wind. So it's highly written and yet highly free and organic. It's like no other record I ever heard. And so that one is close. It's close. This one's close. That's one of the ones that I worked on when I was up in Boston. I'm kind of waiting on her to make any long distance tweaks or improvement, anything she wants to change. And I totally trust her too, in her case too. In general, I'm determined to be like less Virgo moon. I'm a very strong Virgo moon, which means kind of perfectionist in a way. When I did one of the records that's out already is a duo record with Dave Liebman, called Music from a Parallel Dimension, and a duo date. It was recorded at Jordan Hall at NEC where I used to work. And beautiful sound. Also had access to great piano, the Hamburg Steinway. At one point, me and Liebman both played the same piano. I took the bass, of course. I took the bass. He took the high shit. That's a wild track, actually. There's one with me on piano and him on soprano. We also got to use timpani because they had all that stuff backstage. I never get to play timpani, but there's a track with the timpani is quite beautiful. And anyway, what made me think of that one? I don't know. There was a reason. I'm tired. I forget. I start something. I go off on a tangent, and I forget why. I was mentioning that project. Well, for those who are interested. Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, it was that we did like 25 mixes, and people couldn't believe it. Like, why would you do 25 mixes? Just a duo record, right? But when you're mixing, one of the most important things, the most fundamental, there's a lot of subtle little things, but the kind of fundamental thing is getting boom to bap ratio, or let's say bass to treble ratio. So it's balanced. You have enough bottom to support the top, right? And you don't want either top or bottom to be too dominant. You want them to be more or less. And on a record with no bass player, it was very important getting, I do the double bass drum thing, but getting the bass drums just right. I don't want them too heavy. I don't want too much bass. It's not a reggae record, or calypso where they got the pounding bass, or some of the hip hop shit. I hear people in my neighborhood drive by in the car. The bass from 4 blocks away could knock you down,
Sure.
But I didn't want it strong enough to support Levy when he's up on the soprano and such. So now again, I think if I did it now, it wouldn't take 20. We've upped our game too. So we did it now, it wouldn't be 24, 25 mixes, be maybe 10 or 12. But I'm determined to be less Virgo moon about stuff, and also let other people, finish. Oh, there's one that just came out that I should send you if I haven't. I don't remember if I haven't, or probably I haven't. Then make sure, text me with your street address. I may have it, but just in case.
We're gonna talk after this.
Maybe you've moved since then anyway. But
we're gonna talk after this is over.
But the last one is that I have physical copies is a duo record with a brilliant piano player named Mike Roloffs, and he also has been on the Peace Universal project too, because he did 3 incredible versions. I think I'm only using 2 because I had some brutal editing. And this duo record is quite beautiful. It's called Light in the Darkness, and almost all the compositions are these compositions of mine with no bar lines or no chord symbols. And the way he played them, I mean, wow. There's some of the pieces are just so beautiful. I was crying. It sounded like Bach or something, to the point I said, man, I wrote that? Oh, man. But of course, it's what he made of it that made it special. And he's far more than a piano player. On this recording alone, he plays balafone, he plays melodica. He's easily the best whistler I've ever heard. He sounds like Coltrane whistling. He plays Hammond organ. He sings. So he's it's not just piano and drums. And the same. Some of them were also based on beds. So I got me playing bass on a couple of things, and some of them got me doing bass beds and different instruments, water phones, and so it's got a lot of texture. But most of the compositions are actually my melodies, and it's beautiful. Anyway, he took it upon himself to do. I don't know. I think we did the mixes, but he did the mastering, editing, made the cover. He used my artwork. He did a beautiful version. I think his wife did the design, and it's gorgeous. And took it upon himself to make LPs, which I listened to the LP just for the first time, I think yesterday. When I first got it, I just flipped on the CD because it was easier. And then last night, I think, or the day, I don't know, just very recently, I put on the LP, and what a difference. Wow. Man, on the LP, it's really, I heard all the subtleties. And it's really another record that's a masterpiece and very beautiful. I mean, he has the like kind of classical beauty of a Bill Evans or a Steve Kuhn or Keith Jarrett kind of thing, but with a much more open sensibility, you know, like take it anywhere, you know, not necessarily stuck in the jazz language to a certain extent, or standards or this kind of thing, or swing like that. He go anywhere. So he's brilliant cat, and you know, again, it was another example of me saying, yeah, you do it, man, you know, and he took that a little bit of the responsibility off. So I'm learning to be less Virgo moon so that I can get these things out and get them finished, you know, not be so picky about things, you know, but so I'm determined to finish them, finish as many as I can, and I'm determined to wring every last bit of juice out of this decaying, decrepit body of mine. Yeah. So that's my story.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing a good job, man.
Well, it's, you know, it's keeping me, you know, it's inspired, and you know, I'm at the age that I'm in the last quarter. There's no question about that. I was thinking the other day, I'm hoping for triple overtime. Let's go for triple overtime. Single overtime, we're still tied. It's double overtime, it's still tie game. Triple overtime, okay, death win. Death will always win in the end. And what they call it, sudden death overtime. Yeah. I hope it's that. I'd rather it be that than like a long time in the hospital or some shit. A sudden death would be good when it's time. And it'll be the right time, I'm sure. I'm not worried about it. I'm not afraid of it. But I'm enjoying life, and I would like to finish these projects. And I've been playing a bit more lately. And people around me who know me for a while, they say I'm playing stronger than ever.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more tired. Again, I'm weaker in certain ways, but I need more recoup time after playing. But when it's time to play, I marshal the forces and I bring it, and I play strong and hard if it need be. One of the dates I just did, which is another date that we got to finish, Lord knows that's going to be a lot of work, just listening, just wading through it. It was 2 days of very intense recording done in Nashville. That was early May, about a month ago. Thanks to Jeff Coffin. It's a great saxophonist, woodwind player, also a wonderful photographer, and more than that, just a great human being, like just generous, compassionate, giving, sweet, funny, just beautiful cat. And anyway, he was able to get 2 days of recording time at this state-of-the-art studio. And so we did 2 days of recording there. The first day was with 3 drummers. It was myself, Danny Gottlieb, my old buddy Danny, who was great drummer, but probably rarely plays free, you know. It's part of my mission in life too, to take these great musicians who maybe play normal, I don't even know what he's doing, big band music. He plays with Disney, he does all kinds of, he can do anything. You know, he's a great professional musician. And his wife, Beth, who's a percussionist, and 3 saxophones. And then the second day, these drummers came from Guinea. This got Do, they call him, and Ibro, Mohammed Sisse and Ibrahima Diobate. These guys were unbelievable. And they came in like 2 o'clock on the second day of recording, and they blew the roof off the place. And then my buddy Clifford, who's been a big help as a drummer percussionist, who lives in Nashville, who's been a big friend and ally to me. He joined us as well. So at one point there was 6 drummers. Wow. And 3 horns. Wow. And these guys, African cats, man, it nearly killed me trying to keep up with them, man. You know, trying to match their energy, because they're young and strong, and they could play all day long, you know. But they had beautiful tones. And it was totally free date, but I conceptually that they speak French as well as, of course, their native tongue, which I think is called Sisu. It's from Guinea. They're from Guinea, but they live in Senegal, and now they're in Nashville. For a while, they're doing some kind of exchange program. They got some grant to come over and do some things, do workshops and recordings and things. So these guys, man, it's like, wow. Anyway, so I don't have much French. I have a little bit of Spanish and pretty much no French. So, but there was a woman who's been kind of helping them out and speaks French fluently. So I had her translate. I said, well, I think the conception that we're trying to get at is that it's like a conversation. Like I say, and you say, and another guy's like, and we just talking like a conversation. And I said, and if a time or a groove emerges, that'll happen later, organically, like maybe 2 minutes in. Maybe it'll fall into so-called time, but let's just start like talking with each other. And that's what we did. And they got that, it was beautiful, and they were smiling. But I remember after an hour or two with them, I was trying to remember some French to say, you're killing me here, you're killing me. I said, je suis très fatigué. I guess that, I'm very tired, man. I'm old, I'm tired. And they just smiled at me and kept playing, man. These guys. Anyway, I was back in Nashville just on Monday to have some tooth work done. I need some very extensive major tooth work done. And the dentist that I found here in Memphis wanted to charge me quite a bit. That I couldn't afford it, but it was important to get it done. It was right in the front of my mouth, make it difficult to eat. Anyway, Jeff Coffin hooked me up with his dentist, who's doing it doing this incredible work for very little. But I have to drive down over to Nashville, about a little over 3 hour drive, and it's fine. It's nice country. Go in there. So that's going to save me like thousands of dollars to do it. And so I was there getting some dental work. And I went out to dinner with Jeff and his wife, Lioko, and one of the African cats, Ibro. And he brought his dusanguni with him, that string instrument, that Don Cherry used to play. And we had a cookout, and he was playing it. It was a very beautiful evening. Really beautiful people, great drum spirits. And so that's another recording that hopefully will come to light. And also, again, I'm gonna let Jeff do a lot of it, and maybe I think he has a label. So if he wants to put it out on his label and save me some time and bread of putting it out on Rakalam Records, I'm cool with that too. I trust him to do a good job. But also, I'm happy to go to Nashville. He's got a lovely house. Stay with him. His wife planted all these amazing trees. It's just like a beautiful garden, and there's all these wind chimes and things. It's just a pleasure to be there. They eat very healthy. Everything. It's like a work of art. And she's a healer. She does different kind of meditation, healing, and anyway, yeah. So he's a busy cat, but when he has some time, I'll go down there and help him mix and edit that stuff. Mostly edit, just pick out the real best. But that's another one that could be like a double or a triple record. I also just heard from Tuskegee. We did this recording last January. It was around my birthday time. It was like my birthday present to myself. And we recorded in a studio in Virginia, because that's where Tuskegee is. And that was a fantastic date. And I think that's going to be a triple CD, man, which I couldn't even believe it. We weren't in the studio that long. So that means that pretty much everything we played was powerful. And I do remember it that way. And that date was amazing because we had people come from all over for no money, just came because it was important, for love, just for love, and appreciation of what Tusigi's doing. And we had my dear friend Audra, we call her Hewitt, Audra Menconi. She's a great, great drummer, who loves Tusigi and is a student of mine, was a student of mine, but we've never played together. Like, she came from San Antonio, this young bass player that's a beautiful cat, Josh Weinstein, who now we call him Adi Budharma. He got a spiritual name now, came. Michael Atkins from Mississippi, great saxophone player who I've been playing with some. Came Medeski, John Medeski came down from upstate New York. Don Pate came from New York. I came from Memphis, which, by the way, to that area of Virginia it's about a 14-hour drive. It's not close, and I didn't fly. I drove because I wanted to have my own drums for that date. You know, studio set wasn't going to cut it because it's not my sound, and so anyway. Apparently, according to CG, it's a very, very powerful date, and everybody played and got to be heard. And in fact, there was a bunch of double drum duets with me and Hewitt, and we had never done that before. And CG felt that the need. At one point, he said, "I think you all want to play a duet together, don't you?" I said, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." And I thought we played 10 minutes. I think it turns out it was about a half hour. Wow. And nobody came in to stop us or interrupt. I kept thinking somebody's going to come in and go, hey, it's enough. Because there are all these great people came from all over, and they were just sitting in the control room listening. And they were all digging it. Nobody came in to stop us. Now, I imagine that'll get edited down a bit, probably it should be. But he said that happened a couple of times where the band stopped, but the drums kept going. And I said to CJ, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And he goes, No, man, it was great. And you needed it. And it was true. And, Tusiigi is so psychically aware, being not just, he's the greatest musician I've ever heard. And I've heard Coltrane and all the people. And that's the least of what he is. That's the ironic or amazing thing. The most important thing is that he's a fully realized spiritual master who just happens to be the baddest guitar player I ever heard and played with, But he's so psychically attuned that when Audra first came in, he could read her perfectly. She was in. We got some thunder coming. Huh? Yes. She was in deferential mode, because I'm her elder. She was my student. She looks up to Tusiigi as well as a teacher, as a guru. Playing with Tusiigi for the first time can be intimidating because it's not that he is intimidating. He's sweet and down to earth, but just his presence is so powerful. It's like Coltrane that kind of vibe of just deep spiritual waters, deep waters, and so he could sense that she was in that kind of deferential mode, and so he came up to her before we started. He said, Hewitt, I want you to lead the drum section. You're the leader on the drums. Rakalam is going to follow you. Are you cool with that? And she just, this huge smile came on her face. It was like her validation. She needed to hear that. And Lord, she played her butt off. Man, she played. So I'm really looking forward to, Tusiigi calls me almost every day, giving me a report on that one. And that one's going to come out at some point, a triple CD. I mean, I don't even know, but, and the title of that one is called Vanquishing Gods and Demons. And Tusiigi doesn't overhype the music. His titles are very realistic to what the music is, a realistic representation. So that'll give you some idea of the power of the date, vanquishing gods and demons. Every time he tells me that, I go like, oh Lord, I can't even believe that, man.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Yeah. Medeski was on that, and you know, he wasn't that happy with the piano. It wasn't the greatest piano. It was a grand piano, but it wasn't. But he played the hell out of it, you know. And just that he came all the way down there to do it was beautiful. All these great players came, some young, some older, some who had been with Tuskegee many times, like me, like Don Pate, like Medeski, some who were new to him, like Michael Adkins, Hewitt, Josh, Adi Budharma. So it was a good mix. It was the new people did well, but it was also good that the older people were there to set the example, you know, to show them what was necessary and the level that they needed to be to join us, you know, because you can't come into a date weak or apologetic or like that. You feel like you don't belong there, or you're going to be too polite. That was the only instructions that Tuskegee had for anybody. There was no charts, no musical discussion, zero. The only thing he said beforehand, besides that personal thing he said to Audra, and I only heard it because he really was just to her, but I happened to be close by, so I heard him say, like, you know, you lead the drum section, and this big smile came on her face, you know. But what he said to the whole group was, don't hold back. Let it all out. Don't hold anything back. And that's very important when you play with Tuskegee, that you don't hold anything back, you know, because then you'd be holding the music back if you do that, you know. You got to play. You got to really play. And if you're not ready to really play, better not to play. Better to lay out, you know. Yeah. So that's another one. And then there's another one that we did with this drummer from Denmark, Creston, that Tuskegee let Creston take care of it. So he's putting it out. I guess he has his own label in Denmark, and that's supposed to come out in a week or two. I forget what the title of that one is called. That was a powerful day. 2 drummers and Tuskegee. Recorded in another studio in Virginia, in Richmond, Virginia. His name is Creston Osgood. And a beautiful cat, big dude, but plays, so that, and Tuskegee would say 3 drummers, because Tuskegee never admits to being a guitar player. He always says, I don't know anything about the guitar, I'm a drummer. Because he started as a conguero, kind of genius, prodigy conguero player, Puerto Rican by blood. And, of all the drummers, I rarely ever hear him play drums, but he's the greatest drummer I ever played with too. I can hear that. He calls a guitar. He said, that's my 6-string drum, you know. Yeah. So that was like basically 3 drummers. That's a very powerful date. Huge for 3 of us, just guitar, 2 drums. I mean, it's immense. The music is incredible. So that's another date that I feel really good about. So I feel very happy, man, very blessed that, a lot of life is problem solving, and when you get to old age and you have health issues, there's a lot, you got to try to solve those health issues and deal with medical bureaucracy and, trying to afford medicines and trips to this doctor, that doctor and stuff. So there's a lot of maintenance and basically, like, again, problem solving. But in between that, I get to have these moments or days of absolute exaltation, and transcendence and the spiritual awakening and liberation and radiant light through sound, with great people, and also be part of the liberation process for other peeps. Whereas Tuskegee has been my main liberator, teacher, guru, whatever word you want to put on it. To a certain extent, I'm no master, but I'm certainly one who will share the light that I've received. It's my duty and obligation to share the light I've been blessed to receive with others, and help with their liberation process. And there's so like like someone like Danny and Beth, they don't get to play free that much. And you should have seen, they were so happy. They were so happy. I did some gigs in Spain with my boy Javier. That's another record that just came out called Realismo Magico, magic realism, with Javier Bercher, beautiful saxophone player, who reminds me a lot of Jim Pepper or Pharaoh. He's another one of them soul players, but a free player, but a soul sound, and a beautiful cat, and is becoming a yogi in his own right. And anyway, he did some gigs where he booked some gigs with a group. The record that just came out is a duo record, but we also did some gigs in Spain with these guys, these flamenco musicians. One guy was a bass player, caminero they called him, and the percussion guy, bandolero, and then also this guitar player from Africa, Lionel Loiki, who's been playing with Herbie Hancock and all these cats. And none of them, except Javier, plays free a lot, but not these cats. They don't usually play free. And the flamenco stuff, which is great music, man. I mean, it's soulful, it's powerful, but it's also very specific, very cultural, and it's very exact. I remember then they said to me at first, they were a little apprehensive. They said, well, we don't play free. We don't know how to do that, And I told them, I said, oh, no, you just watch me. You'll be fine. It'll be great. Within 20 minutes, these guys was flying, man, and they would look so happy playing that way. Like it was like children who were let out of school. You know how they look when they okay, school's out, go out, it's a beautiful day, go outside and play. That's what they were like. And the bass player, who was a virtuoso bass player, with a bow and everything, classical trained, because Javier chose to play mostly my melodies, which are these free, open melodies, And the guy was looking at my little chart of this melody, and he was nailing it, And I said, no, don't look at the melody, don't look at the paper, look at me, look at the drums, tune into my rhythm, which is going to be a rubato rhythm, no time, and brand new, on the spot. And he started watching me. Oh man, it started flying. But he was such a badass that his one eye was like glancing at the chart too, and he was nailing the melodies, and he had these foot pedals, so he was doing them in octaves and harmonizing them and stuff. So he was killing these melodies. At the same time, he tuned in to this kind of free rhythm dance. He tuned into my way of drumming, and the percussionist bandolero. He was reminding me of, he was playing mostly always something with hands. His hands were strong. Like the cajon was his main instrument, but he had a bunch of other hand drums. And this guy, he reminded me of Elvin. He was playing so like this huge smile. They were so happy to play that way. And the same, I felt that just recently with Danny Gottlieb and Beth. They just don't get a chance to do it. And I understand why. There's no money in it, especially in America. Sure. And people are busy making money and surviving and, doing the music that people are used to hearing and people want to hear. And I understand it. But for me, there's no turning back. I mean, I'm not getting any gigs anyway. If I get a gig now, it's to play free for the most part. I did one in Germany, about 6 months ago, where it wasn't. They wanted me to play like big band stuff of Jaco music with this bass player that is a very strong player, Jürgen Attig, and he plays a lot like Jaco. He's got the Jaco thing down, and it was great to hear those charts. All the charts from that record, Word of Mouth. But I'd be honest, I didn't feel that comfortable playing that way. I felt more like I'm a show drummer now, And I say that with utmost respect for the show drummers, but it's not what I've been put on the planet to do. I'm more about, let's just go with the first sound. Somebody plays a sound or a melody, and we just go from there, free, open. but I did my best. I think I did okay.
I'm sure you did.
If I have to do normal music again, I do my best. One of the cats that I've been helping, he came to me to help be liberated, is a beautiful saxophone player named Art Edmaston. He's a Memphis cat and very much a gigging musician. I mean, he's gigging like 2 gigs a day, pretty much every day. He does brunch gigs, he's kind of hooked up. And they play standards, they play blues, they play R&B, and I'm sure mostly really high level with some really great players. He's a wonderful player, man. But he came to my house he wanted to play free, to play open. And he's great, man. And he's also become a spiritual practitioner. He's been buying some of Tusiji's books and he's really getting into it. He's been a great friend and ally, and has opened up some people in Memphis for me to play with, which is wonderful. Yeah. So Art's another one that, comes over to play with me so we can go from zero and not worry about tunes and stuff. But anyway, he got me, the last normal music that I played was a New Year's Eve gig. He got me a New Year's Eve. He was like sheepish about even calling me, like, would you do this? I said, well, yeah, sure. I could use a gig and I could use the money for sure. And it paid $500 and it was at a casino in Mississippi. Because, I'm very close. Memphis is very close to Mississippi. We're right across the line. Arkansas, too. You just go across the bridge and you're in Arkansas. So that was a wild gig, just getting there, because you're driving through rural Mississippi, which is really the boondocks. It's really country. Country. And then out of nowhere, you see like this huge Las Vegas style buildings pop up on a New Year's Eve, and, like 800 slot machines and giant TV screens, because they're doing sports betting, and roulette wheels and giant buffet things, and the women dressed to kill, like dressed in the most sexy outfits, and people smoking cigarettes indoors and no masks. I thought, wow, I went back to the 50s here, man. But anyway, we were playing like standards and blues and stuff. And I said, I hope I'm okay, because again, I don't play that way anymore. And they said, oh no, you sound great doing it. So, I guess I still can do it if I have to, but I know, I don't mind. It's great, especially with someone like that, like Art. All the cats in the band were very good. Art, when he played straight ahead stuff, he reminded me of kind of Gene Ammons. He had that deep, big, warm, bluesy, soulful sound. And he's a great free player too. So, most of the time when people call me to play, these days it's to play open, free, the way that I play. So I don't play that often, but they tend to be very magical and very special. And I've been playing a little more lately than before, and I appreciate that. I'm really grateful for that. People have been very kind to me as I get older, I think. And that's people who know me, of course, call up to check out, how you doing, man? How's your health? You okay? And then also just people, strangers. I find that strangers are generally kind to old folks and babies, right? And I'm kind of both at the same time. I'm both an old folk and a baby. So people have been very, very kind to go out of their way. My son took me to a basketball game. He came down to Memphis. He's coming again in July to help me and hang out. He took me to a Grizzlies game. It was great. And at this point, I take a wheelchair. So there's a sweet black lady with dreadlocks would drive me around. And I said, yeah, I could get used to this. And I was joking with her. And she was cool. She was funny lady. And so life is good, man. I feel very blessed. We've been getting a lot of love from people. And people have been very kind and very generous. And Spirit's been taking care of me one way or the other, just like finding this dentist, who's kind of an angel of mercy, because they want to charge me like $6,000 to do this work. I can't afford that. So anyway, yeah, I feel very lucky, very blessed. So, I guess I must have done a few good things, some good things
Man, you've
in
contributed
life
so much, you've
to
contributed so much, man, and you're still
to
doing
get
it.
some. What's that?
I said, you've contributed so much and you're still doing it,
Well, oh, thank you, man. I'm glad you think so. Yeah, if I remember, I was maybe as to a small extent part of your liberation process too.
Yeah, it
to
was
to
beautiful
play,
having you here, man. We got to know
freer and not necessarily the standard, the jazz
Sure,
repertoire,
sure.
which you can still do. I mean, there's nothing against that, but
Sure, sure.
to put it aside for a while and see what comes out. Look inward, find, and I find that the most healing way to play, and that's why I do it, because it's instead of karma wallowing, it's karma burning.
Yeah.
And that's what spiritual practice basically is. It's burning karma, freeing yourself of karma, by burning through it, not by ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist, but by dealing with it and burning it up,
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, man, this has been it's been beautiful having you talk and say all these great things.
Can you get closer to your mic? I'm having a hard
sorry,
time, or turn your volume up a little bit. I have a hard
Maybe I
time
gotta
hearing
turn
you.
Yeah, let me turn it up a little. How's that?
That's better. That's better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful hearing you talk about all these things. I'm sure people are going to love hearing. I love hearing about all your projects and the fact that you're just so involved in so many things and the creativity. And I know from here, you sent me some videos recently of yourself just playing some drums in your home there. It's great, and I want to hear more. I want to find out when we get off the thing here. I want to talk to you about how I can find out about all these recordings you're talking about. So,
Yeah. Well, again, like most all of them are up on Bandcamp now.
Yeah.
If you write me with your address,
Yeah,
I'll send you some, man. I feel, be happy to do that.
Yeah,
I'd like you to hear the one with the piano player with roll-offs, man, because it's really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, man, I think we should wrap this up, but I think we should do this again because we've been going about an hour already.
Okay, sure.
Wrap this one up, and then I think we should do it again in a couple weeks or so. Maybe we have another conversation. And
all right, I'm
different to talk about,
Sure.
But this is
I enjoyed it.
Man.
I enjoyed it. I'm glad that's like I say, is it aqueduct for your porpoises?
Beautiful, man. Anyway, this is the great Rakalam Bob Moses. Happy to have you here, Bob, and I look forward to talking to you again. Maybe we'll do this again real soon.
Well, thank you so much, Keith, man. You're a beautiful soul, beautiful spirit. And I send my love to any and all aspiring humans who may also be musicians, who might listen to this. I encourage you to live the music, not just study it, but live it, and be true to yourself and look inward and find your own genius and your own vision. It's important that people do that. That's my encouragement to people, is to look inward and find your own unique voice and reason for playing, that sets you apart from everybody else. And so that's my encouragement, but mostly that you stay healthy and on the spirit path. We're all on the spirit path. So remember that, and remember that we're all guided by divine light, and let that be central to your music. I would hope. Yeah. So that's my wish for everybody. Thank you. Love always.
Thank you. Love always.